Okay, I 100% believe this is going to be a controversial one. I can already see the comments in the comment section, but hey, guys, this is a real topic of conversation. I saw a couple of this girl's videos come up on my feed a while ago. Then she started to post about the economy, stuff like that, for women in particularly. AI is pretty much ripping through our society. Men tend to do different jobs than women, like construction, electrician, lifting heavy shit, stuff like that. And women are more prone to office jobs, working with people, computers, stuff like that. Well, not really computers, but working in office environments. And AI is going to have a different effect on both groups. So I want to hear what she has to say. I was curious to know what she was talking about. Then she right away started talking about AI. I was like, okay, great. We're not just. I get all sorts of red pill content coming up in my feed. I'm like, I probably shouldn't talk about that. Stick to the AI stuff. But what she's bringing up here is super important. And if you are a woman watching this, go to ChatGPT right now and start learning about this technology. I cannot encourage women and young people more to adopt AI in their lives for whatever they want to do, for whatever you want to do to make your life more efficient. Um, it's it's like asking people to use the internet when it came out. It's like, oh, the internet, what's that? Ladies and gentlemen, children, everybody, pick up ChatGPT, do it. It'll make your life easier. But let's see what this young woman has to say about how AI is affecting women in the job market. And ladies, I want to know what you think. Leave your comments, like and subscribe, dislike, and leave mean comments. We love all the engagement. But let's get into it. Let's see what she's got to say.
Women are going to be the biggest losers in the new AI economy that's emerging, and they are already starting to crash out. You're seeing this manifest in the dating market, you're seeing this in politics, and if you're on LinkedIn, you're seeing this on LinkedIn as well. And I think this is going to have tremendous implications for the world around us in the future. That emerges as a result of the disruption that AI is going to cause.
And she's not wrong, guys. Like what she's saying, the disruption that AI is going to cause, it's already happening. Like we're sitting on the ground floor with business owners, both men and women. We just got a one woman on. She's an AI woman. Like we like her. She's really good with AI. But even her being a business owner, seeing how difficult the AI space is, the time it takes to get into it, she's looking forward to our partnership because she's going to be able to leverage all the stuff we do, our expertise, deep knowledge, stuff like that. But I was really proud. I'm like, I get so proud whenever I have a woman come on board for any service that we have technology wise, because I'm just thinking to myself, this is the future. I am actually at the bleeding edge. I'm selling technology to women, and they're benefiting from it. Great. That's amazing to me, guys. We want to do more of that shit. But if you're a woman who's not too much into technology yet, not into blockchain, crypto, any of that stuff, all that geek stuff, you got to get into it.
So I want to dive into this post that a woman named Casey posted on LinkedIn. And it's literally, she says it's a cry for help. And I see posts like this all the time in my LinkedIn feed. Part of this is because of the work I did before I started doing videos on YouTube. I was a freelance SEO writer. So I wrote search engine optimized
SEO.
content, mostly personal finance content. And
Hey,
a
I did SEO for 10 years to just survive, like just to scrape by. So, I oh man, what's this girl's name? Amanda, I know your perspective is great because you've seen the evolution of, basically search and how we interact with these systems and get information. So, let's hear more, Amanda. You're tickling my heartstrings right now.
a lot of writing jobs have just been obliterated
That's
in the
true.
last year or two. Part of that is because of AI, but part of it is also because AI is changing business models. So Google search has fundamentally changed, and with that, how websites generate revenue has also changed. So you've probably experienced this yourself. Instead of clicking through onto a
Holy
website to
shit.
learn about a topic you're interested in, you'll just type your query into Google search or even ChatGPT for that matter, and then you'll stop at the AI overview. You'll read the synopsis that the Google AI overview provides you, and that's it. So, because people aren't clicking through to websites as much anymore, all of these websites that once hired writers and editors and content strategists to help them produce content for the websites, they're no longer economically viable. So, you've seen
My God, hearing this come out of a woman in tech is just like I'm blown away right now, guys. What she's describing is exactly right to the degree to which the agency and myself, I literally strategize our content roadmap to acclimate to this new workflow for people getting information, which is through AI agents. Like most of our leads come from ChatGPT telling users, hey, these guys at Peak Demand know what they're doing about AI. So we get the leads through ChatGPT, and they have a much higher purchase intent than those from just basic Google searches. So for her to recognize that as an SEO person, I'm like, oh my God, there's people out there who are like really, she's really dialed into this stuff, guys. Like what she described, we sell as a service to get found in ChatGPT. It's called generative engine optimization. SEO is a baseline. You have to have SEO already built in to get to the level of GEO, but she understands that. Holy shit! Like, ladies, if you can talk like this, that's attractive.
a ton of people in that space who have been let go in the past couple of years. Like digital media has just taken a tremendous hit. You know, I'm definitely a victim of this as well. Lost 100% of my income
Damn.
because of this, and so you're seeing a lot of people pleading on platforms like LinkedIn, begging for jobs. And the problem is they don't recognize that the jobs they expect or want to have simply no longer exist, or at least don't exist in the price point that they can afford to continue working
That,
them.
yes, yes. What she just described is called the competency gap. The jobs that existed before, where you'd be getting paid $40,000, $50,000 for maybe some data entry work, that's no longer economically viable for these companies. So they need to bring in someone who can either do that work for a lot cheaper or find an automation workflow to do it automatically. The thing is, when you try and throw cheap labor at some of these roles, these entry level roles that require a little bit of competence, they end up underperforming because how much you want to pay them versus how much you need to pay them to do the job correctly, that gap is empty. It's called the competency gap. We have to come up with a term for it because we're seeing it so much on the front lines for AI adoption. But what she's saying is true. The jobs that we were used to before are quite literally disintegrating before our eyes because of AI. It is the transformation of our economy. We have to pay attention. Man, woman, children, learn about tech. Everyone's got to do it, guys. It's like, when you watch those futuristic movies and you see those people living in like a dystopian world, and like there's some kid who's like trying to fix his like little robot AI thing or whatever, and he's like hacking into it, and all the codes are coming up in a little hologram screen and shit. Like this kid knows how to code, and he's like 5 years old. I see a world where even young children are going to understand, Python, JSON bodies, stuff like that. It's inevitable. This AI stuff is not a joke, guys. I mean, I do. There is a part of me that does feel for women because typically, a lot of times women are resistant to technology. And when we have a woman who's not resistant to technology, she flies. But a lot of the times it's like, oh no, I don't want to do that. I like the tech stuff, the geek stuff, the nerd stuff. Lo and behold, we got Bitcoin at $100,000. AI ripping through our economy. Ladies, you have to do this stuff. It sucks. It sucks a lot. But I think it sucks. And I do this for a living. but you have to do it in order to maintain pace with the expectations of society, and how much work we can produce, and how effective we can be for the dollars that we're getting paid, because robots are able to do this stuff automatically.
So this is going to be massively disruptive for everyone in the economy, but I think women are going to be hit particularly hard. And I think there's some very good reasons for this. I mean, one, the biggest thing, women don't work as demanding jobs as men. Just compare someone like this who's a communications and content manager with a guy working on an oil rig, a guy doing construction, any sort of like blue collar, heavy, physical labor job. It's apples to oranges, right? And so you have women who are accustomed to working easy, I'd say relatively easy, comfortable office jobs. They're used to like the social status and prestige that those office jobs provide them, and those jobs are rapidly disappearing. And I think one of the faults of women, and part of why feminism is really so destructive is a lot of these women have been complaining that the patriarchy is underpaying them, that they're not being paid their worth, when in reality the market has been sending these women signals for years that the labor they are providing is not valuable in the economy. I'll give you a couple examples. So if you're not familiar, morning brew is
So before we get to examples, this woman is ruthless. I mean, I don't know if she has some sort of a disdain for women in the working world, or maybe she thinks women are not working hard enough. I don't know, but I would say there's obviously parts of feminism that help society. We want more women to contribute to a working society. Like when you have when you have more educated women in a family, the family tends to do better. The higher the education of the women in the family literally tends to do better. At least that's what I think I learned in anthropological studies, sociology, in university. Like the propensity to which a male son would be successful, was highly contingent upon the education or intellect of his mother, so to speak. So it is quite obvious that we want women to succeed in society, like that society gets better. But we don't want to overextend in a direction where it's like, okay, let's give women the whole kit and caboodle and see what happens. And I think she might be pointing to that because, a lot of, unfortunately, a lot of women are losing their jobs in communications, content, media, stuff like that because of AI. And those aren't really sturdy jobs where you have a particular skill that is allowing you to outshine your competition or others, in that particular industry. Generally, if you're doing communications, media, content creation, AI is very good at that stuff, guys. Like instantaneously good. So I would say if you're a woman in those industries and you're having concerns about your job security, sustainability, pick up AI tools, harden yourself with new skills. And that would, be good for you in the workplace. I mean, if you're a guy who's working blue collar and you're lifting bricks and like attaching pipes and shit, I would say get ChatGPT on your phone to take pictures of stuff to help you. But you're good. If you're an electrician, you're doing great. And it's funny because I saw some YouTubes coming up of these black girls in the South. They were talking about. I love how they tell, like, oh, these girls, they want to get. What did she say? These girls want to get these cushy office jobs, these 9 to 5s. They don't pay like I get paid, and it was great. Like I watched a woman pick up the trades in welding. She was a welder. She had like her welding gear on and her gloves in the video. And she was like, I get paid way more than everyone I know. I just quit one job to go to another job to get paid more. And I'm thinking to myself, like, if more women just picked up trades, like there's a lot of, there is like infinite money in trades because of how few people are engaged in it. And I'm looking forward to a time when there's more women mechanics, like electricians, carpenters, stuff like that. I've met a few women carpenters. They got strong forearms. Holy shit! But it's just so fascinating to see how like women in the workplace is relatively new for human society, in maybe the last a couple hundred years, if that. and then all like women have been working the last couple of 100 years, however long. I don't know the history of uh, like women getting into work, but men have just been strictly working since the beginning of time. So it's like, okay, we're work, 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 work. Women who got to work a couple hundred years, then AI drops, and all of a sudden starts taking their jobs. It's like, oh well, damn. So it's important that ladies are paying attention here. Like, if you feel like your job's under threat because of AI, don't fear AI. Pick it up, start using it, start being better than the people around you, and technically, you won't be able to be replaced because you're coming up with solutions that everyone else is overlooking. So, as much as I think she might be right in some areas where women typically have jobs that AI can easily replace, that's true. Women in those roles who do pick up AI and hit the road with operations, like, do very, very well. I'm going to tell you right now, I trained both my sister and my mother to use artificial intelligence. My mother, in particularly, benefits from it profoundly. She's using it for almost everything now. So uh, let's do it, ladies.
Popular newsletter, digital content service. They do business stuff.
Oh, had a little interruption there. Let's get back to Amanda. Amanda, Amanda, your content is what do they call uh, rage baiting. I think, I don't know. We'll find out with the comments.
But they've also expanded in recent years. They do like tech and health and all that kind of stuff. So they have some job postings. And I just wanted to show you kind of what the job landscape is for women right now. So this is for a reporter for CFO Brew, which is one of their newsletter verticals. It's based in New York City, so it's based in a high cost of living area. And if you go down here, compensation, $75,000 to $80,000 a year. So if you live in New York City and you're working this job, not only is like $75,000 really not a good salary for someone in 2025, but when you're living in a city like New York that is heavily taxed, your take home pay is going to be probably closer to like 50,000, 45, 50,000.
So first of all, $75,000 US, you can do a lot with that. I'll tell you right now, if I was getting that as a 9 to 5, I'd have a 2, 3 businesses started in like 6, 9 months. But now my 9 to 5 probably fire me. But that's a decent chunk of change there. In New York, though, not so much. New York is insanely expensive, guys. So I can understand we're positioning on that. But again, like, businesses are asking human beings to do more work for less. I literally ask my guys to leverage AI, ChatGPT, everything at all times, do everything through AI. Don't ask me questions, ask the chatbot, because I want them to be mobilized and producing as much as possible, as fast as humanly possible. And that means interacting with AI terminals. And that's me. I'm a small business owner. I got a couple guys who I work with, on the front lines, and we have people doing building and marketing, stuff like that. But generally, my ask of everyone is do more, faster, now. And it's true. Like, literally, that's how you survive. That's how you just get enough to scrape by. And then you do that enough, build enough momentum where you're doing well. So, all business owners are asking for this stuff, guys. It's bottom line. No one's going to get an easy job now. You just get paid and it's easy. Maybe on YouTube. Maybe getting YouTube revenue.
$1,000 a year. So you really don't have a lot to work with. So this job pays 75,000 to 80,000 dollars. It's for a reporter. This one is a social video producer. Again, these are two jobs women typically will apply for. Again, 75,000 to 85,000. And then another one, events manager. Women love working these types of jobs, all in New York. And this one is slightly higher. You'll get 85 to 90,000. But again, all three of these jobs pay less than $100,000 a year, definitely less than what you need to survive in New York City. And these are all jobs that are category types that are typically dominated by women. So women are looking at this as the patriarchy oppressing them, and that's how they've framed this for several years now.
Is that right?
This is the market signaling that there's an overabundance and oversupply of labor for these positions, and so they don't command as high of a salary as other positions, like working on an oil rig, for example. And as a result, they don't pay as much. So women are choosing, self-selecting for relatively easy and comfortable jobs that simply don't pay as much, and they're not looking at signals in the market to understand that their labor simply isn't in demand. So I think as jobs decrease, especially jobs that women are looking for, and there's an increase in available supply of labor in the market, it's just going to continue pushing wages down. So it's going to be a race to the bottom. Other issues, though, that women are going to face, they're kind of lazy, and I say this as a female. Women just don't work as hard as men. So
So, Jesus Christ, I'm going to have all sorts of people. You know what? Come for us in the comments, guys. This is her. This is me reacting to her. I will say that across the spectrum of human beings, the bell curve of work ethic, you're going to have a group of men and women at the end who just work hard as shit. Like I can tell you right now, my mother is an extremely hard worker. She worked in healthcare 30 years, had her own small businesses. Um, even put in the work for me and my sister's extracurriculars. Like she went well and above and beyond. Like I love hardworking people. I especially love hardworking women just because that's what I saw out of my mother. So I'm constantly, even with my own personal relationships with them, I don't really get serious with any woman unless I see like she's working hard at, building herself up, health, however she's putting in the work and the hours. I do say, like, even myself, I don't like do nothing women. Like there's women out there who are just like literally just do nothing, they just exist. But at the same token, there's men who are out there who don't really contribute anything to society as well. So I just think that hard workers in general should be praised, and those who do not pick up the sticks and get to it, they're going to fall to the wayside. We are quite literally witnessing Mother Nature's natural selection process in real time. And that is why I always have to turn to you guys who, if you're watching right now, stop this video, go to chatgpt.com, trauma dump your life, and then ask ChatGPT how you can become more efficient or better at what you do. Because it's not just women getting affected. Like men are, I think it might be just women are getting affected, men are getting affected by AI, everyone's getting affected. It's just men are just like, I'm affected, I'm down and out. I'm just going to go crawl into a corner. Meanwhile, women will chime up and let everyone know about it. Like, I think women are more vocal with their own personal issues than men. Men will literally sit on our own personal issues till our insides are rotten and you're throwing us in our caskets. But it's just because we're built different. So I do believe that women are going to have to quickly acclimate to this new environment, but so are men. Whether or not, which of the two groups acclimates the quickest, we're going to find out over the next few years. But I will say a lot of these roles that women acclimate towards or get gravitated towards, like communications, media, stuff like that. Like that's, ladies, I'm sorry to say, a lot of that's going to the wayside, unless you're the person who adopts new technology and introduces that to your operations, and you be that indispensable agent of change on your team.
people are going to have to retrain. They're going to have to become AI literate. They're going to need to learn new skills. Like one of the top in demand jobs right now with regard to artificial intelligence is a forward deployed engineer. So basically it's someone who can understand and navigate the tech stuff, but also someone who can work with a business enterprise client to help them implement. So it's someone who can help integrate AI into business workflows, which is a high need and high demand need for businesses right now,
That's literally
but
what
who
we
also
do
has
here.
technical capacities to like debug and understand what's going on. And
Literally
so those
exactly
jobs
what we
are
do here,
paying
guys.
not great, I would say, comparatively speaking, but like they're in demand, so there's no
Yeah,
shortage of those
I mean,
jobs, right?
it's not
But so
amazingly
you need to
lucrative,
retrain for
but
those
it's good.
jobs. There's an abundance of online courses you can take. You can do a boot camp. There's all sorts of things you can do to retrain, right? Women aren't going to be the ones signing up for these things, and you can
We'll see.
see this with regard to how tech played out over the past decade. Women have a preference for spending their weekends going to brunch or going to Soul Cycle or kind of
What the
living
hell?
a comfortable life. They're not going to be the ones that wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and hustle and grind before their,
Yeah, I tell you
nine
that
to five
sucks.
job. They're not going to be the ones that volunteer for extra work, especially if it's unpaid work. And they're just not going to be the ones putting forth the effort. So in addition to them working jobs that are waning in demand, they're not taking the initiative to reskill. And so that's going to handicap them. And I would say the final thing that's really hurting women right now is they're kind of a liability for a lot of corporate offices right now. Women tend to be more political, especially younger women. Again, you saw this with the election of Zohran Mamdani in New York. Overwhelmingly, it was young liberal women who put him into office. But you've seen this over the years with DEI and critical race theory and all sorts of implementation of these things in the corporate office setting. This is a lot. This makes women a liability. Like if you're a hiring manager
Okay,
right
well,
now
she's not really talking
and you
about much
have
AI
vacancies in
anymore.
the
So
labor market and
she's
you have a
just,
choice between someone
Jesus
who's going
Christ.
to work hard,
Amanda,
might put
maybe
in
Amanda forgets
overtime,
sometimes that she
especially if
is
it's
in fact a woman.
unpaid, and they'll go above and beyond to do the work that needs to be done, or someone who's going to complain that the patriarchy is not paying them enough, that's going to be lazy, that's going to take excessive coffee breaks, and that is going to push for activist political policies within a corporate office setting. Like, I think the choice is pretty simple right now. So I think women have handicapped in themselves. Not all women, of course. And I'm not saying this particular woman, lady that I want to cover today. I don't know her, so I don't know what her background is. But I'm just saying, generally speaking, most women in white collar corporate settings, they have done themselves a great disservice. And so I think they're going to be the biggest losers of the AI revolution. So what does this look like? We can talk about like what is going to cause this, but what is the downstream and effect of this? Well, so you're going to have women who are going to be out of work. That's going to be a big one. Some of these women, I think, are going to start relying more heavily on social welfare programs and the safety net because they think something is owed to them. They have an entitled mentality and they just don't have the work ethic. So they haven't put the reps in to do the work. So they don't,
Oh
frankly,
my
know
gosh!
how to work.
As much as she's brutal against women, I do like what she says. Like, and I can tell you right now, there was a time when I was waking up before my 9 to 5 just to do that little extra shit, and then after the 9 to 5, you do the little extra. Like, it all really does count. Like, you got to do that stuff, guys. Now, I don't know, maybe, and I just think to myself, well, you have to do this. You literally have to do this in order to survive and come ahead or get ahead. So maybe because I'm a man, I think that way. I don't know. Maybe I'd like to chalk it up to my own personal motivation. Like I'm determined enough to do that. Um, taking on extra work, taking on extra. It's the equivalent of taking on extra opportunity, especially if you're in sales and stuff like that. So that's just baked into to trying to be a higher achiever. Like if you're not doing what she's describing right now, then you're just existing. You're just trying to get by. So I do believe that any person can make these choices to put a little bit more elbow grease in. Now I will admit though, I have never in my and of course I'm going to be biased, like it's my mother, but I've never met another woman who did as much as her, like just in terms of just sheer like work, not like mothering and like loving stuff like that. Like she's great, love her to death. I have the best mom. Everyone wants to say that, but when it comes to like sheer force of work for production and money and like actually getting money on the table, I personally haven't met another woman like that in my life. I'm constantly having to tell my mom, like, you're an exception. Like, I have not met another woman who has the type of work ethic you do. But at the same time, why would I meet a woman like that? She's probably going to be at home working or doing something that takes her away from, being able to meet people, stuff like that. So, I always try and figure out how hard a person works based on what they look like. It's like, are they taking care of themselves? Are they fit? Are they going above and beyond in their health regime, so to speak, so I can sort of gauge how much work ethic someone has like that, because it is difficult to build a body. I think everyone should try and build their own body, but I do believe there's hard workers and lazy people in both sides of the gender. AI is coming for everybody, AI is going to empower the hard workers, and it's going to devastate the lazy people, regardless of you're a man or a woman. Now, if you're a man watching this and you think, ah, women are lazy, da da da, da, hell, you might be true. I don't know. I can only go based on what I see. If you're a woman turning around saying, hey, the AI is part of the patriarchy, it's coming to take our jobs, hell, you might be right too. I don't know. All I know is that these forces are are paramount. They're going to rip through society inevitably, and so everyone's sort of got to be prepared. Man, woman, hell, if you're a parent looking at your kid, think to yourself, well, what job opportunities is my kid going to have in 10, 20 years? Get them into tech now.
So there's going to be that aspect of it. But the other aspect I want to talk about is loss of social status. And this is something that really isn't being talked about, but it's going to have a psychological impact on our culture and society writ large that I don't think we are prepared for. So this is an example of someone who has lost or is in the process of losing her social status. So that's socioeconomic status, someone who maybe once could afford living in a high cost of living city like New York and Los Angeles and Miami and those kinds of places, to someone who can no longer afford to do those things, someone who can no longer afford to do the activities they once did. And as a result, they're losing standing in society. They're losing friendships. They're not able to engage in the same activities they once were able to. And so you're going to see women who are going to fall from the white collar middle class into poverty.
Whoa.
And
She's so ruthless. Man is so ruthless. So, and that's not going to be just women. It's going to be like men and women are going to fall from middle class to poverty. Like we already see that downtown Toronto. But this idea of like, and this is one thing that we got to drop, this social status shit, guys. Like, I don't know. Maybe because I never really had a lofty position in life. To me, my status is born from my own efforts. Like, I go to the gym 5, 6 times a week to make sure my physical status amongst humans is stronger than most, if not superior. I'm always trying to make sure that my head's on a swivel and I can protect myself, protect others at all times. That's just because of, maybe that's my bio programming as a man telling me like you need to be strong. Like, I'm 6'4", so I'm tall. If you're a tall person, other human beings, other animals, creatures immediately assume that you're dangerous or strong. Literally. So if you're not, and you get caught up in a situation where everyone's expecting you to be strong and you're not, and you fail, you might be devastated. The people you love might be devastated. If you're a big person, you have literally no choice to be strong. At least that's how I think. So I make it my personal business to be strong, to be fast. I'm not even that smart. I just work hard. I'm just too stupid to quit. So, and that's shit. And so it's a hard conversation to slice, because the feelings that you have as an AI person, you're watching this through the lens of humanity. You're looking at human beings reacting on a whole to these jobs. Now, this woman sounds like she's a little bit more into the gender war. The gender wars, the wars between genders. That might get a lot of views. Like, she clearly doing well with her views and her subscribers, but this idea that one gender is coming after the other, I really believe it's because the difficulties in our economy is like nightmare level. At some point in the past, when men were making money hand over fist and women didn't even need to work because the men that they were with were literally buying houses and cars and still having money left over to go on vacation, there was no problems. Like, there was no problem at all. Everyone enjoyed the rise up in society. A lot of these problems came from um, I can't I don't I really I can't think of anything to say that's not going to result in an amazing backlash here. But I will say that both sides, both genders, men and women, We need to do better in a way that's meaningful for ourselves. But we really got to think, if you got kids right now and you're looking at grown adults in the room go back and forth, well, men should do this, women should do that, we're losing the battle, guys. Kids need guidance in this arena, and I don't even have kids. We can't be bickering back and forth on matriarchy, patriarchy, all that stuff. Like it's not going to do any of us any good.
Yes, you're going to have these women cleave onto social safety programs, but at the same time, there's going to be so many people cleaving onto these programs that there's not going to be enough support for everyone. So they're still going to struggle, and because these women have largely adopted a feminist mindset, uh, they've alienated themselves from their families and from men, so they don't have a network of support. They're probably living far away from family networks who could otherwise come in and support them. And they haven't invested in relationships. So they're likely single and unmarried. And they
Damn, she
probably
going
don't
hard.
have
Let's
a
get back to
prospect
the
of
AI
what the
stuff,
status
bro.
is going to is going up by 35% for one person in a single income household. My monthly premiums for a worse plan than I have now will be nearly $800. So again, the cost of living shouldered by single women is only going to continue to rise, right? Because the cost of living is going up for the rest of us too. But when you don't have another person to split costs with, it's you're gonna have to bear 100% of it. So she's got a $800 premium she's going to have to deal with. And she says, oh, and my student loans are $950. You read that right. $950, which is reduced from on a temporary payment plan. So it's down from 1400. So while
I will say this, like it is, maybe it's the excitement that comes with getting access to credit, but women generally do have larger credit obligations, especially when it comes to school and like loans and stuff like that, than men do. I think I'm reading some absolutely crazy stats that are coming out that's saying like now two of every three college applicants or college attendees, college students is a woman now. Like literally, less men are going to college. And you know what? I think we subtly and like maybe even subconsciously, I don't know, we react and sort of try and evolve with whatever the circumstances is, like without anyone telling us, like without anyone saying, you got to do that, you got to change, you got to be better. I think men just have an undertone or an undercurrent of, well, university degrees aren't worth shit. Might as well not go. Like, I think it's just apparent to us a lot quicker than it would be, say, a woman who's like, yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to get an education. I'm going to get a job. I'm going to be able to support myself. All that's great stuff. Like I hear women saying stuff like, well, I can pay my own bills. And I see these videos online. I can pay my bills. I can pay for my own house, I can pay for my own dinners and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't know when we got to a point when like being like doing basic adult shit was like, I can't go out into the street and say, hey guys, I pay my own bills. No one's gonna give a shit. So I think, oh man, this is a hard conversation to have. Especially like, I think my father's 85. Like he's a bit of he's a part of the silent generation. So some of my upbringing and some of my understanding of relationship dynamics are born out of of very old times. Like I personally, as a man, believe you know women should be making money, a, because you want to be contributing to society or family, but b, as a man you should probably have like the all the bases covered at all times. Like you're going to be the last bastion of strength and defense for your family, no matter what. Like let's get really serious. If you want to be a man, like if you want to be a man in, especially in modern day where the expectations of men are like, you literally gotta be Superman out here if you want to succeed. You sort of have to bring yourself to a higher level, but at the same time, I would ask that women take a look at the landscape and say, hey, like, we've been thrust into the workplace. Like millions of women have been thrust into the workplace. That's displaced a lot of jobs that men would have been doing, say, back in the picket fence days where only men were working. And so My father, he never earned as much as my mother when it came to like economy and money and stuff like that. He wasn't the breadwinner. But he pushed her in her career. You know, he's a black man. He would tell her, "Hey, you're a white woman in a time when women are being thrown a lot of opportunities. You got to go for it. You got to be the best you can be." And she did. She rose up through the ranks through hard work. And so me and my sister, we benefited from that. But his contribution to the family, although it wasn't financially, he was the 4 a.m. guy. He was up before everyone. He was staying up late to do stuff like it. The family unit had contributions from my mother doing a lot of the paying stuff. And I'll tell you right now, work was hard on her. Working life was very, very hard on my mother. You know, and I always think to myself, like, I would never want the woman looking after my kids to work as hard as she did. So I got to take it upon myself to make myself feel good, make a whole bunch of money to pay for stuff. But my father's contribution was more of his time, his physical labor, his efforts. Like, this guy would be changing diapers, cleaning, making sure where everyone in the family got to where they need to go. We had one van. This guy was making 40, 50 trips a week just to make sure everyone got to where they needed to be, plus his 9 to 5. So I was lucky. I got two very, very hardworking parents. They infused that into me. And they're living out the end of their days in comfort. But that work ethic, it's not going to be shared by everyone. And I'm lucky that I had two hardworking parents in one family. That's going to do a lot. You can't have just one person who kind of works and the other person who does nothing, a do nothing person. I don't like those people, but they exist on both male and female side. But this idea of social status and, like, what you do in the status you get from the job you do. Like, I work with artificial intelligence robots every day. It's the status of this is you're pretty much hated by most of society. So it's fascinating to me to see people throwing blame back and forth when really we should just be focusing on, we have to do better across the board, everyone.
Why are her loans? That's pretty expensive. My student loans, just for context, don't have a master's degree, just did undergrad, and I'm paying like $350 a month for student
I will
loans.
say
So
women are particularly
costly, yes, but
affected
nowhere near
by large
nowhere
loans.
near
Like,
this.
that's
And
like, there's
so
studies to show
right from
that
that, you can see, well, she
it's
went to
not good.
NYU. So that's her problem. You
Taking
have
out
women who
loans for
have made
stuff you can't
poor
afford
investment
is not
choices
good.
in terms of their education. They've decided to go to fancy schools in high cost of living cities that don't provide a return on investment, and they're not getting good degrees. Okay, so let me see if I can find her education
Showing her LinkedIn profile,
things.
looking it up. Damn, man, are you
I don't know if it
ruthless?
has. I know she was an actor. I saw. Okay, education, right? So Bachelor of Fine Arts Drama. So she went to the Tisch School of Arts and she got a drama degree, which I can only imagine what that costs. Not not good ROI. It looks like she spent some time in LA, so tried to become an actress, and that didn't pan out. And that happens. That's kind of par for the course. There's a lot of reasons why people don't succeed and things they try to do. But anyways, she invested in a degree that's completely worthless. She now has to pay for the consequences of her choices, and that is eating a substantial amount of money from her income every month. So it puts a lot of stress on her. And says she's been trying and failing to get a job for the last 2 years. So this is why this is a perfect example. So you have someone who's not reading the room. Like, the reason why it's hard to find a job and she's not succeeding is because she and all the other communications and content managers out there are also looking for jobs too, because we are going through a massive disruption right now as a result of AI. And again, it's not just that AI
There
is
we go.
taking everyone's jobs, it's disrupting business models and it's disrupting revenue streams such that employing these people is no longer economically viable.
Wow, she hit the nail on the head, guys. Amanda, you're ruthless with women, but you know what you're talking about. Like, she's absolutely right. A lot of these roles are no longer economically accretive, feasible, sustainable, um, a strong return on the investment for businesses. And a lot of the times, these roles typically worked by women. And oh my God, for a woman who has a background in SEO and who understands how AI is transforming the business model, ladies, you got to listen to her. Like, I might be a man, and I know, like, I can already, I already know, like, when I try to tell a woman to do pretty much anything, like, literally, even if it's good advice, a lot of the times I'll get resistance, I'll get like lashback. So I generally don't tell women to do anything. And unless for my client, then I implore and urge them to do certain things, especially with technology. But when it comes to, like, I learned very quickly from a young age, you try and tell women to do something, you're gonna get a profound amount of resistance. It's better to just set an example, and then the women that follow your example are the ones that you're gonna get on with, or you're gonna be agreeable with, or what have you. Telling them, like, especially with this whole idea of, I'm gonna be independent, men are trash. I get told I'm trash through my phone on Instagram like 10, 15 times a day. So I understand. Like, there's a disdain for men telling you what to do. You want to make your own decisions, stuff like that. So if you're a woman, don't listen to me. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to a word I say. Listen to her. And I don't even know if me telling you to listen to her is going to work, but she's saying some things that are ringing extremely true, and I'm blown away by how accurate what she's saying is. So let's continue. How much farther? Jesus Christ, this is a long one.
Or because there is such a large supply of these people in the market, there's just so much competition that they just can't compete. Especially now that the competition has opened up globally. So these people aren't just competing with American workers; they're competing with workers in India and the Philippines now too, who can work for a fraction of the price. So yeah, this is why it's pretty problematic. So she's gone through the numbers. She has nowhere else she can trim on her budget. So she left her life and friends and moved to a high cost of living area to a low cost of living area. So from high to low. It was a necessary sacrifice, she says, meant to be temporary, but things only got worse with inflation. So I can relate. Like, yeah, I've made that choice too, moving from Washington, D.C., and I've moved around quite a bit in the past couple of years. But, Austin, Texas, where I'm at now, definitely far cheaper
I want to visit
than Washington,
Texas.
D.C. She says she's cut
Sounds fun.
subscriptions, reduced her food intake to save on groceries. She cooks every single meal. She does not eat out or
Nice.
order delivery. I suspect that while she was in LA and New York, this was probably a habit of hers, right? So she probably, got takeout
Yeah,
all
you
the
got to cut
time.
that shit out.
She doesn't
Uber,
even buy
no more Uber,
pre-cut
guys.
fruits and vegetables anymore because there's an upcharge she can't afford. I don't even know why people buy pre-cut fruits and vegetables. Like, I guess if like you're busy, maybe out in
Get
like
to it, Amanda.
luxury things she used to indulge in, things like takeout, pre-cut fruits, vacations, and her social life. And I hate to break it to her, but a lot of working class people, especially people who have been suffering in the heartland of this country, who lost jobs as a result of deindustrialization over the past few decades, like this is the new normal for them. I think there were a lot of people who worked in manufacturing plants in places like Indiana and Ohio and in Michigan, and they were making good money, had the rug pulled out from underneath them, and this has been their new normal for a decade or two now, especially since the 2008 financial.
So I agree with her. Like, the vacations, the dinners out. Like, guys, if you're not already there and you haven't made it, you can't be going out for dinners and stuff like that. Like, I'll go for a nice dinner out in Yorkville with these guys, like, once in a blue moon, just to let them know, like, hey guys, we're working towards a better life where we can do this all the time. But to do it all the time and not be working towards that life, like, it's not a good look. And it's funny that she's saying this about this woman, because most of the time when I walk around downtown, most of the time when you see and you look at a restaurant who's sitting down, it's just groups of women, groups of women, groups of women. And I think it's just because women are bio programmed to be social. Being social is part of the makeup of their programming at a basic biological level. Men, not so much. I mean, you could throw us a bag of potato chips and a six pack. sit us in front of a console or a deck of cards and just go for it. Like, we're pretty basic creatures, to be honest. But women, they need to socialize, they need to do all this stuff, and with all that, I think, comes a lot of the costs I look forward to a time when women are socializing over are trying to build new workflow automations for artificial intelligence. That would be amazing. But it's we're going to have to evolve to get there. And I think a lot of this going out for dinner stuff, or even ordering Ubers, like I'm only ordering from Uber when it's a significant discount. Most of the time, I'm cooking, and I think me even cooking as disciplined me, and I really enjoy cooking. It's very therapeutic to sort of take the responsibility of my nutrition, of my health to the next level. And I really do like that. I believe every person should learn how to cook. And you know what's great to teach you how to cook, guys? You're never gonna believe. You're never gonna believe this Chat GPT.
Crisis. So this is going to become the new normal for these women. They are going to have to accept that you can't just take vacations whenever you want. You have to learn to cook if you don't know already. Buying pre-cut vegetables is a waste of money. And yeah, you're not going to have a social life because having a social life in America costs money. We don't really have public spaces. We have third spaces, and those third spaces have an entrance fee. So, you know, you have to buy a drink if you're at a bar, go to a coffee shop, whatever. And you can buy the cheapest thing possible. Sure, you can buy, black coffee. That's what I do whenever I go out to a coffee shop. But still, I mean, stuff like that adds up over time. She says, my income has not increased in 6 years, despite all her efforts
Wow.
manually killing herself to try to improve my
Eesh, that's a
station.
long
She
time.
says, I'm drowning. Compounded
I mean, you got to
inflation
go
of
down
six
before you
years,
go
few
up. So
emergencies, and no increase in my income has absolutely decimated my finances. So this is just, again, it sounds like someone who I'm going to presume is well indoctrinated to feminist lore, went to an
feminist
overpriced,
lore.
low
What the
ROI
fuck?
college, lived in high cost of living cities, and pursued a lifestyle commensurate with living in those cities. Has didn't succeed. Things didn't pan out for one reason or another. Has spent the last 6 years struggling. Like things aren't clearly aren't working. So that's the definition of insanity: doing the same thing over and over again, hoping for a different result. So things aren't changing. And then, by the way, like the economy is getting worse. The problem is the economy is going to continue getting worse. Like inflation isn't going to magically get better. We are in an economic pickle right now, to put it, politely. Things are only going to get worse from here. And because of the disruption that AI and automation and just economic downturn in general is causing to the economy, this woman is not going to find the jobs she thinks she is entitled to or wants to work. Like those jobs simply do not exist for what she needs.
Yeah, and it's really it's going to require some rude awakenings for a lot of people. Like I just finished another video on what AI is doing to the entertainment industry. Like literally AI actresses now are coming up, and like the Actors Guild is getting afraid. Oh, we don't have work for our actors in Hollywood. Well, I mean, is she taking work away, or is she just creating something new? So we need to really pay attention to what the powers that be are doing, guys, and they're investing heavily into AI and prioritizing those people who have skills in AI. So if you're paying attention, you'll know if you're in a job that's you're not haven't touched AI yet, get your hands on it ASAP and try to make your job, or try to make the work at your job better so you can keep your job, or look for a job where you're specifically devoting yourself to technology. You'll be protected. Like literally, this company that I run, its survival was literally contingent upon the evolution of technology. Great, SEO becoming more and more important. Bang! All of a sudden, AI comes out. All SEO people get supercharged. Revenue starts pumping up more. AI automation is great. That took like 10, 15 years, guys, of strict discomfort. A lot, like for many years. Still to this day, but obviously, you get strong enough where you can manage it. But a lot of people have been living a lot of comfortable jobs, comfortable lives, and they're having their rugs pulled because of AI, because of technology. I don't think it's anything like matriarchy, patriarchy, misogyny stuff. Like I don't like all this stuff is just like background noise to the quite literal evolution of humanity, guys. So if we can just drop the lenses of gender for 2 seconds and tell everyone to pick up AI now, we'd all be much better off. But you can't blame AI for women losing jobs. You can't blame AI, period, because AI is creating a lot of jobs. You can say that AI is the cause for restructuring in businesses, but you can't blame. It has to be put on someone that has internalized guilt, or is being is guilty in some way or some fashion. Then you can blame them. But AI is not a thing. It's not a person. It's a thing. It's an entity. So blaming AI, it's like blaming the internet. Can you blame the internet? I mean, you can blame the people who put up the internet, just like with social media. Can you blame social media? Or are you going to blame the people who develop social media? Or are you going to blame the people who use social media? It's very hard. It's a very hard question.
Okay, so now next year she's positioning herself as she's going to have to choose between health insurance, housing, and food. And this is what I'm talking about with loss of lifestyle, loss of quality of life. Now this person is truly in a situation of on the cusp of poverty. I don't really know how she's making money right now. Her current
Jeez.
commerce been really, again, like stuff, not
When your LinkedIn's getting
trying
dissected
to move
on
out,
YouTube, guys,
or trying to push
it's
the
tough.
limits to, like, I'm embodying the example of how you have to like navigate these transitions. And
Oh, hold on,
that's
hold
how
on.
much you
Jeez.
can earn as a writer these days. I'm a writer. I love writing. Recognize like there's limits to how much you can earn as a writer these days. Pivoted to YouTube, and so that like
Good on you. She's
I'm
doing what she needs to
embodying
do
the
to
example of
survive.
how you have to like navigate these transitions. And so it doesn't look like she's been doing that. And so she's pleading with the general public on LinkedIn that she's going to have to choose between health insurance, housing, and food. And this is unless she can get a new job or freelance work or part time work. So this next paragraph, I think this really hits home. So they say you shouldn't post this stuff on LinkedIn, but I don't know that I even care anymore. This is life or death for me. Like many, I did everything right. Perfect student, overachiever, honor roll, AP classes, sports, arts, great university, after school jobs, always trying, and yet I'm sitting here
Valedictorian.
struggling to scrape to the bottom. Like how are any of us going to survive this? Yeah. So like she's like so many of us, and I was one of these people too. Like I took AP classes for fun. Like I took not even just for fun. I took AP exams for classes my high school didn't offer. So like European history was as an example. I literally went to my homeroom teacher. I said, "Hey, can I borrow your history textbook? I'm going to sit for the AP history exam." Sure. And then I convinced the AP director at the school to order me a test that they had someone proctor it just for me. I did this for 3 or 4 different topics. So I just literally read the textbook, like sat for exams, didn't take a class, got college credit for it. So yeah, like I get it. I was one of these people, had 4 majors in college.
But you know what? Like, she's saying that she did, useless. Look at her. Look at that freeze frame. Sorry, Amanda. You know what? She's saying she got these useless degrees and study, but to me, that sounds like work ethic. That sounds like someone who's willing to go above and beyond. And goddamn, this freeze frame is doing you no justice, Amanda. But I think you're a hard worker, and I think those people who are hard workers, like grinders, like AI loves people who grind. It really does. It will bless you with content and inferences and increase productivity if you just keep on at it over and over and over and over. And for me, like, it's apparent that AI has changed my life. It's allowed me to completely transform this business, but also give other people opportunities. So that's born from working, guys. It's just hitting the deck every day. What does they say? Hitting the pavement, or it's the I call it. It's like I don't want to call it that, but I always think to myself, Alex, you're on the infinite march. Like you're going to march through this path of work until you're dead. What else is there to do? Obviously, you want to start a family, stuff like that, but it's not like it's not like I'm trying to be a baseball player, basketball player. It's just literally just work. Just do work, make more money, watch your money grow, do more work. It's that's the bottom line. Having a vacation, a nice dinner every now and then, that's fine, whatever. But the bottom line is you have to continue with this work ethic in a pretty monotonous and sometimes depressing way just to make it. But once you're on the other side of that, it feels really good. Getting to the other side is a big issue. A lot of people are going to have to make this leap. Into the world of AI. And if you're watching this and you're like, well, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to start, go to chatgpt.com, have a conversation with ChatGPT. If you want to have a little bit more in-depth conversation, you want to figure out how you can make money in AI house, schedule a discovery call with our team. If you're a woman and you're looking at AI as a threat to you, schedule a discovery call with our team. I'll literally personally train you on how to have conversations with business owners so that you can make money through AI. And I got a bunch of knuckleheads on my team. I'm looking for a sharp, razor sharp hunter woman, a Yautja woman, a predator woman for the business development team. So if you think you got that in you, book a discovery call with us.
Like overachiever. I completely get it, right? And you're women are being hit in the face with reality. And I know like this was hard for me to learn. And the process of accepting it and realizing like the world owes you nothing, you're not entitled to anything. And just because you had past achievements, you went to a great school, you did all the right things, doesn't mean, life is going to turn out the way you expect it to be. And you're not going to get, the lifestyle that you want. So women like this, I think this is a really great example, are going to be hit like it's like slamming into a brick wall, right? So lost
Holy shit, this
they've
video's getting long.
lost economic viability over the past few years. I don't think they've seen it. I don't think they're as aware of it as they should be. I think a lot of women tend to hide things, and they hide struggle. And again, I'm speaking from experience. It's much easier to swipe a credit card and keep up with social appearances and make it seem like everything is okay than to admit that everything is not okay. So I think a lot of women, like this young woman here, I think they're in the same position. They have lost economic viability in recent years. They're not going to be able to restore their economic viability because they're in career fields that no longer provide any sort of value for the employers that once demanded
She's
that type
right,
of
man.
labor.
Her
They're not
logic is sound
reskilling.
as
They're
shit.
just kind of in their little hamster wheel doing the same thing over and over again, hoping something will be different. And then, when things aren't working out, they're coming onto social media like this, and they're having crash outs. So this is a written crash out. You've probably
Crash
seen
out.
other
That's
ones
another
on
term
TikTok
I'm
and Instagram.
learning.
Just
Crash
women, I
out.
think, are
Cooked.
starting to finally wake up to reality and realize that things aren't turning out how they're supposed to. And so that's gonna shift, I think, the trajectory of culture moving forward. You're gonna have some women who own up to it, take accountability, and recognize, okay, hey, I'm the problem. Like, yeah, this was a poor choice in school. Like, I shouldn't have gone to the school. This career field I thought I was gonna have, like, this was a bad ROI for me. Like, I chose poorly, right? Oh, I got this debt. Okay, I need to figure out how to pay it off, right? You're gonna have women like that who do own up. I think that's gonna be a minority, though. I think the vast majority of women are going to look for blame. They're going to look for someone else to shoulder the blame for them. And I think because men have gone their own way, and rightfully so, and are opting out and are no longer pandering to these women, I think they're going to look to social institutions, especially political institutions, social welfare programs, to pick up the slack. So again, this is why I think Zoran Mamdani appealed to so many liberal women. They are like
Um,
her. They're struggling. They fear loss of their socioeconomic status. So when a politician says, "Hey, I'm going to give you free stuff. I'm going to give you free groceries, free bus rides. I'm going to freeze your rent," they're going to hop onto it. So this is going to be a one-way ticket into socialism, and it's going to radically transform politics in America. A lot of these women are just going to move further and further to the left, further and further to the extremes, because they're grasping at straws right now, and that's what they're looking for. So I think it's really important to start paying attention to these signals and understand where this is going. I think it's easy to blame women, and right or wrong. I think that it's easy to do that, especially the ones who haven't taken accountability. But I think it's important to recognize that this is happening for millions of women simultaneously at the
yeah,
same time.
that's the
There's no
bottom
easy
line,
reprieve
guys.
for them,
It's
and this
not
is going to
like,
translate into economic
ooh,
consequences and political consequences that the rest of us are going to have to pay or deal with. Right? Like, even I don't live in New York. You might not live in New York. It doesn't matter. We're still going to have to deal with the ramifications of Zoran Mamdani's election, right? So this is something to think about, something worth paying attention to. All right, my pups are telling me
look at the
I gotta
recommended
hop
ones
off
I
and take
got
care of
coming
them for a
from her.
second. So if you enjoyed this, I would love it if you would like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next.
Now, I will say, like, I get more and more of this type of gender war content on my feed, like, all the time. Like, it's crazy. But I do like that she's touching on AI because AI is touching on everything. Whether or not women are going to be disproportionately affected is going to be in question. I believe they will be, because women are generally newer to the workplace in the timeline of humanity, and generally men are not going to stop developing new technology to make society more efficient and better. Women are doing that now. I literally am invested in a stock that CEO is a woman. She's trying to do quantum computing. Like, let's get really serious. But this conversation, man, on the AI side, employment, working, AI in relationships, guys, it's affecting everything. If you like this type of conversation, I don't want to apologize right now. This is over an hour long. Like, we're well past the breaking point now. Like, I'm sorry that this was so long. But if you like this type of conversation and you feel like you're getting some value out of it, hit like and subscribe. If you don't like the conversation, you don't like my face, you don't like how I sound, you think I breathe too much into the mic, hit dislike, leave a comment. I know for 100% we're gonna get comments on this one. Not everyone's gonna watch the video, but we're gonna get enough comments on this one. I'm gonna round them up at the end of the year. We're gonna read all your comments. A lot of them are mean. You guys are very YouTubers are mean a lot of times, but some of them are nice and some of them are all hopeful. So I do appreciate that. So if you like what you're hearing on the channel, please like and subscribe. If you like what Amanda's talking about, you can subscribe to her. And I'm looking forward to the next one. I don't believe this is a man or woman thing. Um, I believe it is just a human evolution thing. We need to seriously start paying attention to what's going on, what the powers that be are doing with their investments, with their money, the direction of society. And if we do acclimate into all together in the right direction, we will come out a lot better for it. So, I'm I must be an optimist for how much shit I've gone through and to be where I am now. But I think there's going to have to be strong people on both sides of the gender spectrum. And with that being said, let's just take a quick look at what a female predator Yautja looks like for everyone out there that's curious about what I was talking about. Look at her. Look at this, guys. Look at it. Like, these are, we need some, if we had women like this in the workplace, I'm pretty sure we'd all be a little bit more, be paying attention more and working harder. Because in the world of I just watched a new Predator Bad movie, so I'm really into it. But literally, like, the most dangerous beings in predator society, it's not the males. All the males know what to do is hunt and kill and fight and kill and hunt. They leave it to women for interplanetary relationships because they don't care. The men are literally just too busy hunting and killing. Women have to like take a step back and say, "Hey guys, we have to have relationships with other planets, or we're going to be at war all the time." So, everyone's got to pull their weight, and obviously, women and men in society are going to have to. But I just wanted to leave you guys with that. If you like what you're seeing here, please hit like and subscribe. I promise the next one's not going to be this long. But I really enjoyed this conversation, so I'm looking forward to the next one. Bye now.